So today's class, it is Maxwell's relation. It is on Maxwell's relations. So as I told you guys and as we discussed just a moment ago, that these guys, these Maxwell's relations are really, really important for the point of view of competitive exams, of course, and for the point of view of actual thermodynamics and statistical mechanics. So it is the most uh, important concept that you will ever come across. Okay. So let's talk about these Maxwell's relations. So before doing that Maxwell's relation, as we did yesterday, we will do some mathematics. So this, since this chapter's title is mathematical methods, we will do some mathematics. And after that mathematics, we will reach to the conclusion. Okay. So after that mathematics, we will reach to that conclusion. Okay. So we are doing two mathematical theorems. We are going to do these guys. We are going to, one of them I'll not prove and one of them I'll prove. So there are two mathematical theorems that we must be knowing, and one of them we know already. There are two mathematical theorems. So all those students who are not following so much mathematics, just pay a little bit attention here. So the first theorem, it tells you that if z is a function of x and y, then you can write z as del z equal to del x by del z by del x at constant y into dx plus del z by del y at constant x into dy. This is how you write it. Okay, this is known as the fundamental theorem of partial differentiation. So you know this theorem. This is all it is. This is all it is. But now let us dig a little bit deeper. So let us call this guy as m. So it is m dx plus this guy n dy. Okay, so we are going to call these guys m and n. This part is m, this part is n. Okay, so now if we want to do a further operation, mathematical operation, then you can take derivative of m with respect to y, the other variable, at constant x. It will give you the derivative of del by del y, and what is m? M is del z upon del x. So it will give you del square z by del y del x. And similarly, if you take the derivative of n with respect to x at constant y, you will get del by del x into del z by del y is represented by n. So this is del z by del y. In place of n, I just wrote del z by del y. It becomes del square z by del x del y. And if m and n are exact differentials, also these two guys, they are same. Del square z by del y del x and del square z by del x del y, they both are same if m and n are exact differentials. What do we mean by exact differentials? This is the definition of exact differentials कि अगर ये दोनों, so if del m by del y at constant x equal to del n by del x at constant y, if this condition is satisfied, then they are called exact differentials. Then if this condition is satisfied, then m and n are called exact differentials. So del m by del y at constant x equal to del n by del x at constant y. This is how we do this. This is one of the very important results that we are going to be learning today. So this is one of the very important results. What we did, just let me quickly recap it. So we wrote, if z is a function of x and y, we wrote it like this. Then we called this guy m, this guy n. And to prove this, and we eventually found out that del m by del y equal to del n by del x. So del m by del y and del n by del x are equal. And if they are equal, this m and n are called exact differentials. This is the condition for exact differentials. So this is one mathematical theorem. I just proved it in a somewhat semi-formal way because I assumed that this is the case always. This is known as the fundamental theorem. So I assume that this can happen, and if that can happen, then you can prove this. Okay, so this part we are going to use it too many times today. Too many times. Now let's move to the second mathematical theorem. Second mathematical theorem, which we are not going to be using today, but we will be using it somewhere or the other time. Okay, so if f is a function of x, y, z, and if f is a function of x, y, z, and x, y, and z are one of these guys, have some relation between them. So x, y, and z have some relation between them. X, y, and z have some relation between them. If f is a function of x, y, z, and x, y, z have some relation between them, then what do we mean by x, y, z have some relation? Either we can write z as a function of x and y, or we can write, by this notation I mean that z is a function of x and y, or x as a function of x, and x is a function of z and z and y maybe, or y as a function of x and z. So these three things can happen. Okay, so x, y, and z have some relations, some kind of relations between them. So if f of x, y, z and x, y, z have some relations between them, f is a function of x, y, z, and one of these guys can be represented as the some relation between the other two guys, then what you can say about this, you can say two things. One, let us write with different pens. So one way of writing this is, if these two are accurate, so if f is a function of x, y, z, and x, y, z have some relation between them, then f is function of any two of x, y, and z. So f is not actually a function of all three, but f is function of any two of x, y, and z. So how am I using this? So let us suppose this, that you have z equal to x square plus y square, and x equal to cos theta, and y equal to sine theta. So x and y have some relation between them, that you can write x square plus y square equal to 1. Okay, so instead of x square, you can write, okay, x equal to r cos theta and y equal to r sin theta. So you can write x square plus y square equal to r square, some r, capital R, it is a number, real number. So eventually what happens is, you can write z as nothing but capital R square. You can write z as capital R square, which is independent of x and y both, but ideally what you can do is, instead of y square, you can write r square minus x square. So eventually z became the function of x alone, the y cancelled out, because x and y had some relation between them. Therefore z initially was function of two variable, but since these two variables have some relation, so you can put that value in one of the variable, so eventually it becomes the function of only one variable. That is what I'm writing here itself. So if f is function of three variables, but those three variables have some kind of relation in between them, so you can replace z by this x square plus y square in this. So eventually the whole f becomes function of only x and y. So f is function of only two variables of x, y, and z. There can be any two variables. And second, or this is one case, or second case is, and second case is not or second case, and any one from x, y, and z can be regarded as function of f. And any one of x, y, and z can be regarded as a function of f, and any one other than itself from x, y, and z. So let me just erase this part. This is just a rough work, so I don't want you guys to be confused about it. This is also rough work, part of rough work. This is also part of rough. Okay. Okay, so what am I writing here is, any one from the xyz part. So here it is a rough work section. So any one from the xyz can be regarded as a function of f, and any one from other than two variables. तो अगर f जो है वो तीन वेरिएबल का फंक्शन है, वो तीन वेरिएबल में अंदर अंदर रिलेशन है, you can write x as a function of f x as a function of f and any one of the other two मतलब y या z में से कोई भी एक, तो f और y का भी फंक्शन हो सकता है x, you can regard it as a function of f and z, you can regard x as a function of any one of the other two. This thing I am not proving, but I am just directly using these two things. Okay, I am not proving these two statements mathematically, but I am just directly going to use this. So let us use this, that suppose x can be regarded as a function of f and y. Suppose as x is a function of x and y, so you can write dx equal to del x upon del f at constant y into dy or df plus del x by del y at constant f dy. This is how you write dx. Okay, now if suppose instead of f you want instead of x you want y to be a function of something, so y is a function of f and maybe z. This is from your book, so I have to see it because this is from your book. So if suppose y is a function of f and z, then you can write dy as del f del y by del f at constant z df plus del y by del z at constant f dz. Now this is equation number 1. This is equation number 2. Now you can equate both of these equations. तो यहाँ पे आपके पास कुछ dy का value है, you can put it here eventually. So you can put this value of dy here and eventually you can get some dx. Therefore, dx equal to from 1 and 2, dx equal to dx, the first part is del x by del f at constant y df. It is just the same. So del x by del f at constant y df is just the same, plus the first term is still the same, del x by del y at constant f is still same. So del x by del y constant f is still same, but in place of dy we are writing del y by del f at constant z into df plus del y by del z at constant f into dz. I just wrote this at the place of dy, and eventually you can combine these terms of df and df together. It becomes del x by del f. I'm doing some boring mathematics, you will know later why am I doing this. Okay, so this del x by del y at constant f into del y by del f at constant z into df plus, this is the df part, the last part of dz is still there, so dz part tells you that del x by del y at constant f into del y by del z at constant f dz. This is the part of dz, this is dx. But if dx has natural variables f and z, then you can write if x is a function of f and z, it means that x has natural variables f and z, then you can write dx as del x by del f at constant z into df plus del x by del z into constant f into dz. So you can write it like this, but since this is another equation, let's call this equation number 3, and this is equation number 4. You got this equation 3 from equation 1 and 2, and this equation 4 from our fundamental relation, if x is a function of f and z. So this is our fundamental relation. So now let us equate both of these guys. So this part is being equated with this part, but we are not interested in that part. We are interested in this part being equated to this part. So coefficient of dz is equated with coefficient of dz, and eventually what we are going to get is del x by del y at f, del y by del z at f equal to this del x by del z at f. So this is how we equate the coefficient of dz. So equating coefficients of dz. This is simple mathematics. I know it is very boring for most of you guys, but what can I do? So del x by del y by del z, just write this. Constant f, everywhere the f is the f function is constant. Del x by del z at f. Okay. Therefore, what you can do is you have to know something called reciprocity theorem or reciprocal theorem. Reciprocal theorem tells you that if you have del y by del z, at some constant x, then you can write it as 1 upon del z by del y at constant x. You can write it like this. So I'm taking this on the other side by inverting it. This is known as reciprocal theorem. This is just extra knowledge that you guys are having because of your simple partial differential equations. So del x by del y at constant f into del y by del z at constant f into this becomes del z by del x at constant f, and this multiplication is equal to 1. And I did all of these rigorous mathematics just to prove this equation, just to prove this. Just to prove this. So this is the relation which is being used. This is the relation. Okay, if you have not understood anything mathematical in this derivation, you can ask me, but eventually the important part that you need to keep in mind for your future competitive exams is this, and this is logically clear. You can, if you can ask me, then how would I remember this? You can cancel dx with dx, del z by del z, and dy by dy. Eventually one remains. This is not the correct way to do this, but I will remember it like this. So but this is the result that you have to keep in mind. So if you have two of these, multiplication of two of these, you can write it as 1 upon this, or you have multiplication of, you have only one of these guys, you can write it as 1 upon multiplication of these two guys. So eventually this relation is going to be very helpful in solving problems. Okay, so this relation is helpful in solving problems. One other relation which is helpful in solving problems is this. This is very helpful relation in solving problems. This is very helpful in relation in solving problems. Which problem? The problems which you are going to face in your laboratories. Either you are chemistry student or you are biology student, you guys are going to face some problems in your laboratories. You guys are bound to face some problems where you will be using thermodynamics, where you will be using these kind of mathematical relations to actually analyze the system. Now, we have almost finished our two mathematical relations. Now we are moving to the actual topic for today, which is Maxwell's relation. So if you have any doubts till this point, just kindly ask, because the later part is completely connected to the first part. So eventually I'm assuming, if you are not going to ask me any doubts, I'm assuming that you know this result and you know that result, that del m by del n del y at constant x equal to del n by del x at constant y. If you have any doubts, I'm stopping here for 5 seconds. Kindly ask me.
Sir,
Yes?
sir, that second thing you suppose anyone from X, Y, and Z can be regarded, that one is not pretty quite clear.
Okay. So anyone of x, y, and z can be regarded as a function of f and any one other than itself. Okay, let me just talk about it in a little bit informal way. Okay, so what do we have is f is a function of x, y, and z, and eventually one of that. So let's suppose z is a function of x and y. So any one of that is a function of other two, or they have some relation in between them. So this is how the picture was initially. So this is what I wrote in the first place. F of x, y, z, f is a function of x, y, z, and x, y, and z have some relation in between them. So f, what is f in our case? F is probably, f, the function is probably x cos x plus sin x, cos x plus sin y equal to z. Okay, so f is this function. Okay, this, suppose this is the function. Okay, cos x sin y minus z, this is the function. Let us suppose this is the function f. But now z and xy have some relation in between them. So z has this kind of relation, suppose. So this was the what you call it, ये पूर्व भूमिका है इस प्रश्न की, ठीक है. तो ये हमने अज्यूम किया है कि ऐसा है कुछ. You can see it like this. F is a function of x, y, and z. F is this function. Let's suppose f is this function cos x plus sin y minus z is the function of x, y, and z. And z, x, and y have some relation in between them. Suppose this is the relation. So first thing I wrote is f is function of any two of these variables, x, y, and z. So f you can regard as function of, f you can regard as function of any two variables. So f is a function. What is f? f is function of x, y, and z, you can write it equal to this. So f is a function of x, y, z, which is equal to this. So now f, you can regard it as only function of x and y if you just put value of z here. So first thing is, I hope clear that this means sin y minus x square minus y square. So f is now only function of two variables. Now what you could have done, you could have used value of x instead of value of z, you could have used anything. But now eventually, if you have these two things, then eventually you can express f in any of those two variables out of three. Okay, you can do this. Now, is this first point clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move to the second point. Second point was which was our actual doubt. Let's move to second point. Okay. Just let me see this. Okay. Yes. So this was your actual doubt. Any one from x, y, and z can be regarded as a function of f and any one other than itself. So let me write it like this. Let me write it like this. So this is the first point. Now for second point, I'm going to rewrite this equation. I'm going to rewrite this equation. So I'm going to write it like this. Z equal to cos x plus sin y minus f of x, y, and z. So this f is a sum function. Okay. Now what I can do is, now I can write z as nothing but, because we have this relation z equal to x square plus y square. So instead of y, I am changing it to x minus z. So it is z minus y square equal to x square. So instead of x square, I'm just changing it. So x is equal to under root z minus y square. And f is now also function of which two guys? Okay, f is a function of x and y only. F is a function of x and y, just as we proved, right? F is a function of x and y only. So z, you can write it like this. So z is completely function of x, y. Z is now completely function of x, y, and f. Three guys. But now any z can be represented as the function of either f and y or f and x, or okay, it can be represented. That's what I wrote here. That any one from x, y, and z can be regarded as a function of f and any one other than itself. So you can regard, I'm sorry, yes, yeah. So you can regard z as a function of x, y, and f, but now you can change x in terms of z as well. You can change x in terms of z as well. It becomes cos z minus y squares root plus sin y plus f of xy. So x instead of x, now it is z minus y square and y. So what you did was you changed the complete description of z in terms of either z or y or f. So eventually z became the function of y and f only. So you can write that any one of these x, y, and z as a function of f and any one of the other variables, or any two of the other variables. So it is z and y in this case. So I am not able to find that particular example where I can write it only in terms of f and y, but you can do it in some particular examples. So the word I should not write here is one. In any other than itself from x, y, and z. So any one from x, y, and z, I should write it like this. Any one from x, y, and z. Okay. So this is, I am just not able to give you the clear idea right now, but just stay after the class so we can discuss it more further if you still not have understood. But this is my logic.
Yes, sir,
that
but I understood.
okay, sir. So thank you. Okay. So this was any more doubts in this section? Any more doubts? Okay, 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll start. So we know we have to calculate Maxwell's relation. What are Maxwell's relations? They are relations between P, V, T, and S. These three guys are measurable in laboratory. You can measure pressure, volume, temperature in laboratory. Entropy you cannot measure. You don't have any machine to measure the entropy in real life. So these relations are actually relations between pressure and entropy, or volume and entropy, or temperature and entropy. These guys are actually relations between them. That's why they are called Maxwell's relations. So it was actually discovered by Maxwell, the same Maxwell who Maxwell's equation you are studying in electrodynamics. So he is the same Maxwell. These guys are Maxwell's relations. So let us try to derive the first one of the Maxwell's relation. Derivation is the most simplest derivation you would have ever seen in your life. I just want your help in writing that thermodynamic square that I wrote yesterday. I just want to write that 4 differentials: du, dg, df, and dh. So I want your help in writing that. So how can anybody of you help me in writing this from thermodynamic square? Let me write this thermodynamic square. Good physicists have studied under very fine teachers. Okay, and there are 2 arrows from bottom to up. Can anybody help me in writing this du and dg and fast? Du for du, can anybody tell me?
TdS minus PdV.
TdS minus PdVs. Thank you. Can anybody help me for dg?
VdP minus SDT.
TdP minus. I'm not checking it, so you guys better check it. I'm just assuming that she is telling me correct. Yes, thank you. Next,
PdV minus SDT.
minus SDT PdV. Okay, and H.
Sir, minus PdV.
Okay, minus PdV in this dF, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the last one,
TdS plus VdP.
VdP. Okay, thank you very much. So
Sir,
these,
sir,
yes,
not minus. Yes, sir. Okay, no problem, sir.
no problem, right? Yes, thank you. So I hope you guys now know that how to calculate, formulate these 4 differentials using this, because what I am about to derive, you are supposed to remember that for your competitive exams, but I don't think until and unless you have this great memorying capacity, you can remember that part. So I'll show it to you what you have to remember for your competitive exams. But if you remember this, you can derive it in one step for your competitive exams. Now let's talk about this du first. We are talking about du. There are 2 natural variables of du, s and v. Okay. So why we did this mathematics? You can write this du and compare this du with dz equal to m dx plus n dy. You can compare these both these guys. So you can compare both of these guys, and you have m equal to t and n equal to minus p, and you have x equal to s and y equal to v. I am supposing that this is all clear picture to you guys. Now we had del m by del y at constant x equal to del n by del x at constant y. This is what we proved there. So if this is what we proved, how to directly apply it here? Can anybody help me writing this equation? Or for the first equation, since this is the first equation, let me write it. Okay, this is the first Maxwell's relation. I'm already putting it in a box. This is exceptionally important for your competitive exams. Exceptionally important. So in my time when I was appearing for IIT JAM exam, they just directly asked one of these 4 Maxwell's equations. So they just directly asked that which of the following is not a Maxwell relation, or which of the following is a Maxwell relation. They just directly asked that question. So these, you can understand the importance of these questions, these relations, because they are tremendously important. So del m by del y at x and del n by del x at y. So how do I write it? In place of m, I am writing t. So del t by del v, because y is v, at constant entropy equal to minus of del p upon del s at constant volume. So this is the first Maxwell. Okay, it does not mean that this is the first. This is one of the 4 Maxwell's relations. तो पहला दूसरा तीसरा चौथा ऐसे कोई क्रम नहीं है फिक्स्ड, ठीक है, वो किसी को भी आप कुछ भी बोल सकते हो, बट दिस इज द फर्स्ट Maxwell's relations. Maxwell's relation, first of the Maxwell's relations. Now you can easily derive it, dg equal to vdp minus s dt. So if I write it like this, the second dg equal to vdp minus s dt. So you can always write the second Maxwell's relation. How do you write it? It is del v upon del t at constant p equal to del s upon del p at constant v. I suppose you got this. I am assuming that you got this, how I wrote this. You can easily do it step by step if you want. Since it is a beginning for you guys, you can write m equal to v and n. Oh, sorry, there is a minus sign. N equal to minus s, then x equal to p, and y equal to t. You can write it like this, and then eventually del m by del y at constant x equal to del m by del x at constant y. So you can write it like this. So this is the second Maxwell relation. Any doubt till this point, or I should write them faster? I hope this a student from non-mathematics background are following this, because this is easy mathematics. I hope you guys are following this. Any doubt from till this point? Kindly ask if you have. Okay, so I'm assuming there is no doubt. Or if there are so many doubts that you are not even understanding a one word, then tell me. I am already ready to repeat all the things again. Okay, so I'm supposing that this is easy mathematics for you guys and you guys are doing this. So the third relation, which was, I don't remember these relations. I always write it from this thermodynamic square. So I have to see them again and again. df equal to minus s dt minus p dv. df equal to minus s dt minus p dv. So this is how you write df. Now you can write it like this. So the next thermodynamic relation. Can anybody tell me which should be the thermodynamic relation? Can anybody just try at least? It is okay if you are not correct. You can just try.
Minus del P by del T at constant volume
Yes.
equals to minus del S by del V at constant temperature.
Yes, this is correct. Yes, this is correct. Thank you. But can I cancel minus on both sides, because this looks more proper? So generally it is written like this. Generally it is written like this. So this is the third Maxwell's relation. And for fourth Maxwell relation, let's go to enthalpy TdS plus VdP. So enthalpy tells you, we have still not understood the physical meaning of these guys, enthalpy and free energy and Gibbs function, but we will do that. VdP plus TdS. TdS plus VdP it is. Okay, so now can anybody else help me with that? This equation, how to write the Maxwell's relation? Anybody help me?
Del V by del T.
Del V by del
Del
T.
S. Del S
Del S, okay.
equals to del
By
T by del P.
Del T by del P. Okay, at which constant quantities? Because they are also important. Yes. For
P
this one,
and
P and
S.
S. Okay. So these two are constant quantities. So this is, yes, thank you. Thank you, both of you. This is the fourth Maxwell's relation. This is the fourth Maxwell's relation, which you guys, now these four Maxwell's relations are of tremendous importance in thermodynamics. Why? This is actually end of your class. So after this, there is nothing. Okay, in your book, you can now read these two topics, which I have covered for your CI2. The first topic is the characteristic function. And second is two mathematical theorems and Maxwell's equations. Okay, you have to read these two topics for your CI2. After CI2, we are meeting again and we will be completing the next full part of the syllabus. Okay, so for your CI2 in statistical mechanics, CI2 syllabus is all the sections that I have taught you guys. It is all the sections that I have taught you guys. It is the CI2 syllabus. Okay, so almost everything I taught you, because I recap few things from the initial sections as well. So almost everything is your syllabus